If there is one attitude that the media want us to have, it is fear. We are to be afraid, very afraid. Just in 2019, we were to be afraid of the oncoming catastrophe of climate change. Then in January of this year, World War III was about to come with the conflict between the West and Iran. From February to May, coronavirus was about to destroy us all. In June, it's been individual politicians who are going to bring the nation down. People of different nationalities are to be feared. And most recently, we should be afraid of the police force. And these are all presented in the most dramatic terms. Headlines are filled with exclamation marks. If we are not filled with fear and terror, then we are not doing life right. Maybe in the last few months you have been afraid of what will happen to the environment or to the nations of the world, afraid of organizations, afraid of individuals, fearful of the known, terrified of the unknown. That may be explicit fear with panic attacks and disturbing nightmares, or an underlying and hidden one that has just made us confused and our hearts beat a little faster as we walk down the supermarket aisle. May Isaiah 41, verse 10, hit us this morning with its gracious, life-giving force as we enter a new day. God's people there are exiled in Babylon, far from home. They have every reason to be terrified. Life was filled with uncertainties and genuine cases of fear. Would they ever go home? Would they be killed, enslaved, used, or mistreated? They just couldn't know. So the prophet seeks to bring them comfort and hope. And there are many comforts in this verse that give God's people the best reasons why we need not be afraid. Let's listen to God's word. Isaiah 41, verse 10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Notice the two commands. Do not fear and do not be dismayed. Those are not commands of rebuke. They are commands of comfort. It's like a mother going into their child who's having night terrors and just drawing alongside them and saying, don't be afraid. Don't feel distressed or alarmed. It's okay. But that command in itself is not enough. We need reasons not to be distressed. The little child might ask the mum, well, why shouldn't I be afraid? God gives us, his people, 5 reasons in this verse why we need not be alarmed, distressed, or fearful. The first is, do not fear, says God, for I am with you. Fear makes us alone, feel alone. It isolates us. It makes us wonder how we personally can cope with the unknowns. In that moment, the great I am, the eternal, unchanging, truly reliable God comes alongside us and he says, I'm with you now. I'm with you and not against you in this moment. I love verse 13 of Isaiah 41, where God says, do not fear, for I, the Lord your God, hold your right hand. What a thought, that he holds our hand through the difficult, unknown path. The second reason why we shouldn't fear is God says, don't be dismayed, for I am your God. You know, fear is a mechanism whereby we try and be in charge of our futures. But the future is unknown to us and uncertain. What a comfort when we can call the only one who knows the future mine. He is my God. Thirdly, he says, I will strengthen you. You know, the thing about fear is that it leaves us feeling very vulnerable and weakened. It makes us feel helpless. So our loving Father pours vigour back into our lives, enabling us to function healthily once more. Fourthly, God says, I will help you. We are afraid because we do not know what to do in a given situation. We are uncertain and confused about how to function. So our Father comes alongside us and he says, look, I know what to do. I will give you the aid that you need. And then fifthly, he says in this verse, I will uphold you by my righteous right hand. That is a Hebrew expression of reliability. Our worst fears may come true. We just simply do not know. People do let us down. We can be left alone. Viruses do harm and kill. Others do sin terribly against us, and we against them. One thing is certain though, God will never fail us. He will uphold us, and he is entirely reliable. So do not fear, for he, the trustworthy, eternal, and all-knowing God, he is your Father, and he is with you. He is for you and upholding you, and he always will.